Most of the free trade agreements are based upon the NAFTA. And the NAFTA is found in General Note 12 in the beginning of the harmonized tariff system. And you need to be familiar with those notes only if you're involved in activities associated with those notes. Again, you do not care about classification of footwear if you're not importing footwear. You are concerned with the merchandise that you are involved in, such as machine tools or parts. On the other hand, if your business is shoes, then you want to be familiar with the section and chapter that deals with footwear. Following those general notes, you will find the general statistical notes. And those notes tell you how to properly classify and provide information to the Census Department. After we cover those sections in the beginning of the tariff, we will receive a notice to exporters that the harmonized tariff schedule can be used for export classification purposes. There are certain exceptions, and they are identified on those pages with the heading Notice to Exporters. So the main thing that you will derive from this piece of information is that the harmonized tariff schedule can be used for import and export. You have to be careful on the exports and make sure that the number that you're using is not one set aside in the beginning of the book, and you have to match the number that they're using for exports against that particular tariff number. Schedule B is the book issued by the Bureau of Industry and Security for Exports, Commerce Department. That book is used for exports only. So you need to understand that if you're only buying one book, the harmonized tariff schedule is used for both import and export. Now the complexity, once you get past the part that we've talked about, is that this book is comprised of 22 sections. And within the sections there are chapters. There are a total of 99 chapters listed in the harmonized tariff book. And it's important to know this. This is a very important factor in applying the general rules of interpretation to the classification of your product. Remember that we are trying to obtain 95% accuracy and higher. So we begin with the process of how to classify our products. We need a systemized approach in classifying our products. So with the content of those 99 chapters and also some appendixes, you need to know that there is an alphabetical index in the harmonized tariff book. So what you will do is go to that index and look up the product that you are trying to classify and see what the reference is in the index to a tariff number, and you will go to that number and try to apply your product to the terms of the headings. Now we need to look at the structure of the harmonized tariff, the individual page, an illustration of a tariff page. So we will look at that page and we'll understand that the first column is where the tariff heading and the subheadings fall, and this is the direction for the classification of our products to those headings. And it's important to understand that the first two digits of the number that we're looking at refers to the chapter. Then, for instance, we might have live animals, like 01. That is a chapter covering live animals, and we know that that 01 designates that. Then we might have a referral to chapter 84. Those two digits describe the content of that chapter. 84 covers nuclear reactors, boilers, machinery, and mechanical appliances, parts thereof. A very broad chapter on machinery, including machine tools. The next thing that we would look at in the nomenclature of the tariff page is the heading. It is 4 digits. Then the subheading is 6 digits. The United States uses 8 digits for the rate of duty. The second column is the stat suffix, and the U.S. uses 10 digits for statistical purposes, though the proper classification on the entry document will consist of 10 digits. The third column on that tariff page is the article description. Again, from the beginning of this, I referred to materials that you need to understand what your product is, reference materials, and you need to relate the term of that product that you're classifying to the article description found in the book by the heading, which is again 4 digits, and then you begin to fine-tune the classification by expanding those 4 to 6, 8, and then 10 digits. The fourth column on that tariff page deals with the unit of quantity, and that is the statistical reporting units that are required to be reported that are associated with that particular tariff number. The last column is the rates of duty, and that is divided into 2 columns. Column 1 is the most favored nation's rate, and that is divided into general and specific. Now, general applies to the goods from most countries. For instance, the UK, France, Germany. Most of the trading companies or countries that we are dealing with today fall under the most favored nation rate, the first column. You will probably recall from the news reports when Congress is considering whether or not to grant most favored nation to China, and that is allowing the column 1 rates to apply to the import of Chinese products. The next column within the general is the special column, and in that it is either reduced or a free rate of duty, and that is under your different trade programs. Generalized System of Preferences, the NAFTA, the Jordanian Free Trade Agreement, the Andean Free Trade. There's so many free trade agreements now, and I would like to tell you right now, this is the direction of the future. There will be more free trade agreements, and what you need to do to be prepared to deal with these is understand 2 concepts, and that is the proper classification of the merchandise and also the proper valuation of the merchandise. We are focusing on classification at this time.